Hello, welcome to Joe Baker's Remedy Report. We're going to do some sound healing work today. So if you've got something that needs work on, let me know. Let's send a little bit to my back here. I feel something in my calf, my right calf. Let's work on that. A lot of motion in my calf right now. Hard to tell whether it's muscle twitching or some kind of parasite or something like that. Sometimes I wondered if I wasn't picking up on some radio frequency signals that are affecting, or maybe a solar flare or something like that. I think it happens at night. Ooh. I do like this tuning fork. 256 hertz. Let's try another one. Let's try this weighted one, 136. Working on my calf. Hey, so I'm going to keep an eye on the chat room. So if you've got, if you want to say where you're from, just say hi. Welcome that. But if you've got some part of your body that could use some, all the help it can get type of thing, be glad to send some vibrations your way. So we've done, what kind of things have we done? We've done cleared PTSD for people. We've improved kidney function. We've improved, some liver. We've worked on livers. I don't know how much but we can pretty much get your stomach gurgling remotely just by focusing the energy on it. We could work on bowels. We could work on, knees. Had somebody who couldn't work because of his knee, and I cleared the pain in his knee, and he's back to work. So many things we can do. We just have to have. I've cleared endometriosis from a woman. I didn't even know what it was. So if you've got anything that needs some work, let me know. And as long as you forgive me for any adverse reactions that might occur, we can create some value here. Let's see. So this is one of them. Let's switch up and go to Oh, this one. This is a nice, powerful fork. And if it's making you shriek in, you know, you can't handle it or something, let me know. I've got a. You can just turn the volume down, I guess. I've got a stone that helps with that. It's an amazing that people can have such a powerful response to the tuning forks. There we go. I got some black tourmaline stone. It's gonna. We'll get some nice artifacts to it. Somewhere I've got a polished one too. The polished one seems to work better for. Maybe that's it right there. Nope. Hey, I've got a bigger black tourmaline. It's nice to see these popping up in my bag here. Kind of looks like coal. I'll keep the bigger one up. Also, azurite. I've got some azurite here. If you want to feel it, it's supposed to help activate the third eye. I can put it on the base of the tuning fork, and those of you who are more sensitive, might love it. Love it. I think I want a higher frequency fork. Let's go with the 384. And then just imagine this is going where the third eye is. Including mine. Let's see. Marcia. Hi, Marcia. Welcome to the show. She says, first time from Brazil. Love crystal and fork. And Marcia says, right ear. Okay, we'll work on your right ear. Let me put this down. And we'll just kind of focus on your right ear. Now, we'll kind of work on the ear itself right away. And maybe you could tell me a little bit about the trauma. What do you think is leading up to this? Is it something in the history? Is it another part of your body that's affecting the ear? Oh, Marcia says, nice fork. Also, I felt my right ear tingling with the fork. Love my third eye to fully open. Yeah, wouldn't I as well? We can go through the timeline of your life and see if we can find a place where it affects the ear. She says, lovely fork, 438, not 440 hertz. Yeah, I hear what you're saying. This one's 384. I got it at a thrift shop. I've got some others. What do I have? You might like a 178. 174, sorry. And then I'll put the azurite on bass. We got some overtones going there. Really, it should be lower. Let's put the tourmaline stone on there. Sorry, I'm getting used to putting the camera down low. I think it's kind of an interesting angle for this work. All right. Right ear. 174. We're using the tourmaline stone. Now, often when I'm using the stones, if I'm trying to, I'll put the stone right where your ear would be. Might as well do both ears at the same time. It's kind of like looking cross-eyed in my imagination, so I can get both ears at the same place. I'm not using 174 for any particular reason. It's one of the first forks I started working with. In biofield tuning, the pitches that we use aren't as important as it is when you're focusing on chakras and chakra work. You know, each chakra has a different pitch, supposedly, and but I'm working on energy blockages, not specifically in the chakras, but you know, like your ear, for example, right? And so in this case, it's not so much the specific frequency, but it is the it's using sound. And by the way, I'm delighted to see you again, Sonia. She says hi, Marie, and she says it. Marcia says it travels the whole body. Wow. Hey, that's great. Yeah, the thing is that we're using a coherent tone. Coherency means let's have AI define that for us. All right, let's do a brand new thread here. Define for the guests of Joe Baker's Remedy Report. We use sound therapy and biofield tuning practices. Coherence is achieved when, I can share this with you on the screen. Okay. Coherence is achieved when the body's vibrational rhythms are in sync, allowing for improved physical, mental, and emotional well-being. Biofield tuning. Hang on, getting distracted. I want to present this really well in size. Coherence is achieved when the body's vibrational rhythms are in sync, allowing for improved physical, mental, and I'm getting distracted. I've got some kind of mental thing, and it gets me often. I want to strike the tuning fork as I'm reading this. In biofield tuning, coherent sound waves from tuning forks are introduced into the body's energy field to help restore balance and reduce dissonance. This process works by identifying areas of turbulence or resistance in the biofield, using tuning forks to produce a steady, coherent frequencies, allowing the body's nervous system to relax and shift from a fight or flight response to a rest and digest state, helping the body to tune itself and release subconsciously held tension. By achieving coherence through sound therapy and biofield tuning, clients often report feeling lighter, experiencing a reduction in physical, mental, and emotional stress. This approach can be particularly beneficial for addressing various conditions, including anxiety, PTSD, digestive issues, and recovery from past traumas. And then Marcia says, okay, I feel traveling. What is for the base chakra? I don't know. I don't usually use tuning forks for chakras. Enjoy class like synchronizing. Yeah. Well, there are, and some people do the singing bowls. I was watching a lady who does that. Nice, really feel relaxing, even digestion as well. Mm-hmm. Oops, sorry. I bumped the microphone with the tuning fork. How do I do this? Double tap there and I'm back. Let's switch to the from the black tourmaline and go to the azurite stone. It's a blue type of thing. My friend who does a lot of meditation, she can get into deep states of meditation like in the blink of an eye. And she told me that the azurite stone, the blue azurite stone, when we put it up by her, near her forehead, it was like a magnet to her third eye. So she really liked it. So I've thought, well, this is a way that I can help the audience to experience the blue azurite stone by putting it on the base of the tuning fork and then intersecting that with an imaginary representation of a human body. I've got like the head here, and so I'm vibrating the stone very gently at the base of the tuning fork. And how does this get to you? Sound waves are an acoustic sound. They have a plasma component to them, an energetic plasma energy. And I think the plasma energy is guided with the mind's intention of interfacing with the human form, whoever's listening, or whoever we imagine that we're connecting with, and that we can send some of that plasma energy to the people. So Marcia says, really works the fork, you're good. Yeah, somebody called me a forker the other day. It's a new verb. And Marie said, usually the lower chakra needs a lower tone. Yeah, we can do that. But I've had people enjoy a 512 hertz tuning fork. So, sometimes we work on, sexual dysfunction or sexual trauma and things like that. And it all depends what people like. She placed the azurite up here on her forehead. And I used to wear a turban on my head, and I would put, I had a little blue azurite stone, and then I had a spiral of a silver wire, and I would hang it on there. And oh man, I haven't worn a turban in a long time. I really like it. It's nice. It's said to protect you from thought forms. Marcia says azurite is Archangel Michael stone. I didn't know that. I do like Archangel Michael. I'm not much of a Bible follower, but I do think that the angels are real. And Archangel Michael, I know he's been helpful to my friend. She once had a visualization of Raphael when she was sick. He once came, and he was huge, probably 30 feet tall or something. And she was laying in bed. He brought his mind, his third eye, and merged it with her third eye, which was really really cool to hear about. I wish I could see that stuff. That'd be awesome. Oh, thank you, Marcia. That's kind. But it's hard to tell. In the end, Raphael is green. I didn't know that. So let's shift and do a little bit of work on um, well, since I know Sophia's watching, Sophia had an experience several days ago coming on the show, or being here in the chat room. I mean, and um, she described she was feeling some good things from what I was doing, and we learned that she had, in the past 2 years ago, had a spider bite that introduced a flesh-eating bacteria into her skin, and she had a really bad time with it. They had to remove 10 centimeters of her skin, and she's still somewhat bedridden, if I understand it right. Wow, it's nice to see that we're getting out onto both YouTube and Facebook. So I can see the comments, coming from different places on here. That's great. All right, so let's see. I want to focus on Sonia's back, and I'm going to use some of the black tourmaline, just kind of work on it directly, kind of the small of her back, if I understand it right. I'm going to go with a lower frequency one, 60. This might be interesting with the tourmaline. Sonia says that was me. That's her. She's got a different name on here. I'm going to put this here, I guess. Kind of focusing where the stone is. Selenite and amethyst. And then Sonia says, yes, I'm much better with my nausea because of this tonal therapy. And that's why I'm out here today. I'm just like, I need to spend some time with people and share my gifts, create some value out in the world. Do you guys like this low frequency? With the stone. And helping the collective, dear friend. Yes, exactly. We worked on a couple days ago. We did one where I was working on the January 6th, 2001 collective trauma. We went through the day before, hour by hour, and up through the January 6th. It was a lot of stuff that I was finding in there. Excuse me. Wonder if you can hear that pretty well. The frequency range of The microphone's probably pretty good. I bought this microphone today. I got it hooked up right so that we're actually using it. Yesterday we weren't. This one that's a little higher. What is this one? I don't remember. 192 maybe. I've got a lot of tuning forks. But surprisingly, I'm not the sort that, uses them as certain letters of the piano and all that. I'm more into the solfeggio frequencies. I think that's what they're called. $144, and let's get into it. We'll do. This is I'm going to be using my hand to go around in circles, and each time I do, the whole rotation coming back around to the top again is 1 foot for each circle, and so I've got 6 feet of around your body, 6 on your left and 6 feet on your right side, and we're going to move through all of that. We could focus on, well, since you mentioned the ear, we'll work on the head, and we'll look for trauma along the way. If I find some distortion, or if you do, make a note of where I'm at. Like what major number did I go by, what foot marker, and then I'll count down the numbers of the clock, like from 12. I go backwards: 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then we're at the next foot marker. So you could think of it as inches along the way, because it's 12 inches, 12 hands on the clock, whatever. But this is very much a measurement type of therapy. And you might find that at a particular point along that measurement scale that you feel something very profound. It could be, you could feel an emotion, an extreme emotion from it. You could feel just a little tingle in your foot, or, in your elbow, or, different places. And it's repeatable. We can go back to that measurement and you'll feel the same thing again. But eventually, if we can keep going back to it, we can clear that trauma away. What we're feeling, what you're sensing, is a linkage to the trauma in your, that's recorded in the biofield around you. Let's see, where are you? Is cold there? 40 degrees C in Rio de Janeiro. Wow! I'm in Wisconsin in the United States. And yeah, well, it was warm today. We're on the Fahrenheit scale. I think it got up to like 60 or something today, which is unheard of for us. But it's spring. And we may have had our last freezing temperature. So we're at the point where we're starting to decide now, do we uncover all the plants so they can, get sunlight and start growing? Oh, somebody's star is out here. Earthica. Hello, Earthica. She says, hi, Joey. Marcia says, I do feel it. All right, so we're going to go out at 6 feet. 6. And we're working on the head. 6 feet. And on the face of the clock, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7. Something there at 7. That's very early on. I want to say in the in the womb probably. I'm feeling stuff up here too. See, I'm supposed to hear it with my hearing, but I have tinnitus, so I had to develop another method for biofield tuning using my hands. And just feeling in the combining a way to feel and to measure at the same time. Only 25 Celsius today. Onion soup and cheese. Marcia says, I had in Wisconsin. Marcia, your last name, let me try to say it. Taexara. Taexara. And Marcia says to Earthica, it's a beautiful name. And Marie says, I feel it. Everybody's saying hi to each other. That's nice. So we were at 6 feet. Just dropped my hockey puck. 5 feet. I'll do that again. I'll say the numbers, and you can tell me where you feel it, right? Like what number on the clock. So 6 feet, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. That would be at the 5 foot marker. And then we'll go from 5 feet and we'll start working down 5 feet on the head, on the face of the clock, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 4 feet. You feel the energy of your bedroom changing as well. How nice is that? Yeah, I went to one of those, I don't know, where people, taste the back of the frog or something. And, they go into, they vomit and all this stuff. Before they went and did the poison frog thing, they had me work on all these people. So I gave a half hour each to about 12 people. And they were saying how the area on the beach, they could feel such a change in the energy. I don't know. It's not something I feel so much, but I do enjoy people's descriptions of it, of what they sense. I think I'm loaded with a lot of toxicity, so I don't feel, or maybe they're overly toxic. If you have a lot of copper in your body, you're going to be more engaged with the electromagnetic things. Okay. Marie had 7. and 5. Yep, a frog. Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. That makes perfect sense. I remember reading that book to my little brother when he was a child. I was 11 years older than him, and Bufo Alvarius. Yeah, not so sure I recommend that kind of stuff these days. I think our goal should be to detox as much as we can. But I don't know. I had an ice cream cone today. Call me a hypocrite. All right, let's see. So we had some number markings, and I appreciate that. And we were going from 5 down to 4. So 5, 9, 8, 7. So somewhere down here at 7. We'll kind of work in that area for you, Sonia. Oops. Continuing. Continuing. Just moving my hand ever so slightly. Let's see. Hello, Zach. What fork frequency cancels out OCD symptoms, obsessive compulsive disorder symptoms, heals the brain from intrusive thoughts and rampant ruminations? Thank you. Well, it's not a specific frequency, Zach. It's about treating the traumas, the underlying traumas that occur to it, and some of them are toxicity traumas, like your brain is being burnt by retinoic acid, probably as we speak, and there's a certain amount of trauma associated with that, a long time trauma. So, you can entrain to any of these frequencies pretty much and have a really good response. It helps kind of reset and retrain instead of focusing on the chaos of the pain that all creates. the frequency just lets you it's more about it being a coherent frequency. Like this is pretty much on center. This is 144 hertz. But stick with me. I mean, I've got some ideas for you about the OCD. Marcia says, when you listen to your replay, adjust your volume, dear Joey. Is trembling a bit. Put the volume a bit down. Okay, so you're getting maybe some distortion from the volume. Thank you for telling me that. Let me do a mic check real quick. I've got ability to do that. Hear it. I've got to wire my speakers a little differently here. Hang on. But it looked like my volume levels were good. I think your volume levels might be too high on your computer. So you can turn them down a little bit. Sometimes laptops and things are, how do we put it, over amplified.
The Bluetooth device is connected successfully.
And then they get this experience where it distorts. I'm going to run the test again. There, that's pretty good. That's about the way I expect it to sound. So, but thank you, Marcia, for explaining the problem that you're experiencing. Let's see. Earthica writes, they squeeze the venom out of a gland in the Colorado River toad, then crystallize it and vape the crystal. If you lick the toad, you'll die and not come back. Vape it, you'll die, but you'll come back. Oh, man. All right. Yeah, so Zach, I got to get back to you on... yes, the speakers. We feedback, dear Joey. Yep. So, did we clear that one away at the 7 mark? So at 5 feet, and then at the 7, it still feels like there's something there to me. And you could go back and watch this again and keep working on that section. If you have trouble getting rid of it so that you don't feel the response, we could go, we could do another session. I could go back into past lives and see if we can find a place that's out there causing it. Some of these traumas are anchored in past lives, and they're hard to clear up in this life unless you go back and get them there. A woman with endometriosis was like that. Severe, chronic, inflammatory pain in the pelvis. We cleared that up in an hour and a half. But it was not giving way in the, in the first 5-6 feet. So eventually she had something that was about 23 feet off of her left hip. I'd love to have some funding to go to some of these endometriosis conferences and take my tuning forks and show people that I can, at least try, right? I've only worked with one person with endometriosis, and I had a success rate of 100%. So there might be different kinds, there might be different reasons for those pains. Oh, it's 11:11, huh? It's 8:11 here. But I know what you mean. I know what you mean. Seeing those numbers on the clock is like, wow, it's kind of tingly on one of my fingers. So we're at between moving down from 5 feet towards 4 feet. We're at the number 7 position on the clock. We're really trying to get this cleared up here. And this will help. It's like this distortion in your biofield. It affects how you think, how you behave, how you heal, how you grow, and it's really useful to get these traumas out of the way. I think too, and it's kind of a theory, a hypothesis of mine that these are like anchor points. If there are things like demonic attachments or biofield implants from the government on people, they're not going to be able to implant those on somebody who doesn't have any trauma in their biofield. So, and that's a lot of my speculation, and you can take it as woo-woo or whatever. I know that this stuff affects people, and I try to make logical conclusions based on the data that I surmise from what people tell me things about. 9/11 in Canada. Oh, Canada, Zach. Let's see. Marcia says, feeling my left hip, had 4 back surgery and removal of ovary. It is helping me now with the trauma. Wow. So are you feeling emotional or anything? Yeah, give me feedback if this is the going on or whatever. So we're at 5. And then on the face of the clock, we're moving down to the 7. We're just really working on that place right there. Marcia says, karmic family sends what? Luciferian and voodoo every night. I say return to sender activated. Well, it's interesting. The voodoo stuff. I was trying to learn a little bit about that. I don't, just dismiss a lot of things out of hand. I'm curious about them. Of course, the biggest thing we hear about voodoo is, how they can affect somebody remotely, like sticking pins in a doll or something. But I have a black acquaintance from Puerto Rico, and he talks a lot about African history and all that, right? And voodoo to them is like it's a way of life. And we're not talking about sticking pins in voodoo dolls. We're talking, they have like a code of behaviors and it becomes part of the well, we used the word here before, coherence, and a similar word would be cohesive fabric of their society. So it's it's kind of an interesting thing. Of course, it differs wildly probably from Christianity. I could have AI write up the differences between Christianity and voodoo beliefs. That would be an interesting read, wouldn't it? Marcia says, I feel calm. And even the Luciferian stuff is is interesting. I try not to take sides on stuff, but it's interesting. There are a lot of things that describe, they equate, Lucifer and Jesus kind of as being the same thing in terms of being a light bringer and stuff. So I don't know. Just try to be good and ethical toward one another. That's my thing. We've got a lot of differences in this world, and maybe if we can just find ways to appreciate and reinforce the good in others. Not reinforce, but how do you say that? Like reward, telling someone a good job on something when they do it. Let's see. I'm going to move forward to that other number. Let me scroll back and see what it was. The 5. Marie was saying she felt it at 7. We're going to go to 5 on the face of the clock. So starting at 5 feet and then all the way down past the 6 at the bottom to the number 5. And we're over here. And my face is being blocked from the camera. Hi. I'll move it over here. 5. We're at the 5. And I can just move the hand around there a little bit. My brother Bob is in the house. Loves the frequency. Pain relief. Yep. Woo. Marie says she studied hoodoo and voodoo. Marcia says, me too. Let's see. The present is for today. Where are we at? From 5 down to position 5 on the clock. And so we might be just feeling nice and relaxed and all this, but we're looking for those places where it evokes some sort of sensation in the body, so we can find the mark where it might be. And we're, with the hand going around the circle, we're triangulating distance, and so we're working out at about 4 feet and 4 inches right now, off both sides of the body. I guess we could just say, let's say 4 feet 4 inches, left side only. Right side only. Curious if I can shift it and change it on a dime like that. Left side only. Right side only. Both sides. There we go. Let's see. Cirrus, the dragon. Huh. That's a star. It's nice having some people jumping in. Let's see. So we got 4 feet or 5 feet, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 4 feet. 4 feet. 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 3 feet. Did anybody feel anything going around the circle that time? Because I'm amazed you all don't just fall asleep to this. It can be so relaxing to go into these sessions. So relaxing. I mean, I get pretty relaxed with it. If you give me a second, I've got a spot in my back. It's not the vertebra, but it's off to the side of the muscle even, and I just got to put some vibration there, I guess. I've got a special boot on my tuning fork for that. And I've got some magnets on there. The north facing side of the magnet going into the skin. Give myself some care here and there. The song Hair from the musical Hair is coming to my mind instead of the word care. Hey, let's do these two in tandem. They're kind of cool together. Sorry. Don't tap the microphone. I wonder if you guys are getting this in stereo. Okay, Zach. Thank you. I'm glad you were listened. I see that. Now, what I wanted to say to you, Zach, is that we've been poisoned a lot from our life from a misunderstanding of vitamin A. People think of it as an essential nutrient. When they came up with that, belief, they did the science experiment wrong. Vitamin A is only a toxin. And it's in milk. It's in eggs. The yellow of the egg is toxic. The fat from the animals, there's a lot of the toxins go to that. Vitamin A is primarily a fat-soluble toxin, although the retinol palmitate form of it might be water-soluble. You guys like this one too? You do hear it in stereo? That's great. like Star Wars, huh? So, why am I saying this for your OCD? Look up the side effects of Accutane. Let me do it. I'll put it on the screen. Here we go. Okay. Tell us about the side effects and warnings of Accutane. Okay. And you'll see that this corresponds with your OCD. And I'll tie this together to show you that it's in the milk. It's in the pasteurized milk that they give you, and the longer after it's been pasteurized, across 8 hours, the amount of Accutane in the milk rises about tenfold over time. The pasteurization is destroying a special protein that protects you from Accutane in the milk, and it's releasing it. It's almost as if they're weaponizing the milk by pasteurizing it. So let me put myself down here, make that maybe a little bigger. Accutane, isotretinoin, is a powerful medication used to treat severe acne, but it comes with significant side effects and warnings. Below is a summary of its potential effects. Common side effects: skin and hair, dry, peeling, or cracking skin, chapped lips, dry nose, possibly with nosebleeds, thinning hair, fragile skin. Eyes, dry or inflamed eyes, difficulty wearing contact lenses, sensitivity to sunlight. How many of us have had sensitivity to sunlight issues? Decreased night vision, musculoskeletal joint pain, muscle or pain stiffness, back pain, digestive system, stomach upset, nausea, diarrhea, headaches. Mild to severe headaches are common. Serious side effects: mental health, depression, mood changes, aggression, and suicidal ideation. These symptoms may require immediate medical attention. I'm surprised they don't list like OCD and these things. A lot of these mental issues are just so tied into these forms of vitamin A in the body, and it depends where we can ask it. But let's finish reading this and we go for more stuff on it. Yeah, eat the chickens. Don't eat the eggs. Eat the chickens. The chicken meat is good. I mean, the chicken meat is low toxins because the chicken has a liver, and the chicken's liver cleanses the toxins from the animal's blood. So the amount of toxicity inside of the chicken meat is relatively low. It's one of the low things you can eat. Intracranial pressure, severe headaches, blurred vision, dizziness, nausea, vomiting, seizures due to increased brain pressure, tumor cerebri, liver and blood issues, elevated liver enzymes, hepatitis, high cholesterol or triglycerides, blood sugar problems, including diabetes, vision problems, night blindness, blurred vision, or other visual disturbances, severe skin reactions, rare but serious conditions like Stevens-Johnson syndrome or toxic epidermal necrolysis. Interesting. That's similar to the word you described, Sonia, about your skin, but they blamed it on a flesh-eating bacteria. I think necrolysis is like the skin dying, right? Bone and muscle effects. Long-term use can lead to bone changes. Example: hyperosterosis, hyperostosis, and persistent muscle pain. I've had that in my wrists, a persistent muscle pain in both sides, not in the wrist itself, but in the bone, this part, a little more toward the arm. Warnings about pregnancy risk. Isotretinoin is highly teratogenic, which means birth defects, and can cause severe birth defects. Women must use 2 forms of contraception starting 1 month before treatment and continuing 1 month after stopping the drug. Monitoring required. Regular blood tests are needed to monitor liver function, cholesterol levels, and other potential complications during treatment. I didn't really load this up. Usually I load it up with a bunch of alignment things to give it more a better answer about things. Mental health screenings. Patients using isotretinoin or Accutane should be monitored for psychiatric symptoms before and during treatment. And sun sensitivity, increased risk of severe sunburn. Sunscreen use is essential unless it has vitamin A in it or titanium dioxide. Don't want to use those. Or vitamin E. Don't want to use vitamin E either. When to seek medical attention. Sudden mood changes or thoughts of self-harm. Accutane is highly effective for the treatment of acne, but should be used only under close medical supervision due to its risks. Well, I would say that it's a bad drug overall, and that maybe the people's acne is due to their body trying to get rid of vitamin A through their skin. So maybe they should stop eating so much vitamin A and just buck it up and go for a couple years until the load of the vitamin A on their liver reduces. The vitamin A is a form of isotretinoin. It's a form of Accutane, and they find it in some pasteurized milk through a type of light testing. What could we put that down for? I like playing this, but all right. So let me go to docs, get my vitamin A prompts. I'll load it up with all of these things here, and we'll paste that all in there, and then say what's the relation to OCD with vitamin A? And it's going through and exploring all these theses that vitamin A is not an essential nutrient and that its relationship to toxicity and metabolic processes. So it's searching 28 sources so far, 37 sources, 44. And these seem to be, we're looking at a lot of medical studies investigating the role of retinol binding proteins in protecting the body against damaging effects of retinol. So there it looked at 3, 4, 5, 6 sites to find support for these things. Here we go. Answer. Let's see what it has to say. To critically evaluate the thesis that vitamin A is not an essential nutrient, we analyzed metabolic pathways, historical assumptions, and emerging evidence suggesting toxicity as a root cause of perceived deficiency symptoms. Uh, Below is an evidence-based exploration of these claims. Reassessing vitamin A deficiency as toxicity. The overlap, and what we mean here is that they used to say you'd have a deficiency of vitamin A would cause, blindness or problems with night blindness and all this kind of stuff. But those early tests were not done right. Vitamin A comes in many, many forms, and while they were blocking certain forms from the diet, there were other forms they didn't realize were vitamin A, like green grass. And they talk about feeding cows green grass, and that's supposed to be such a great diet. Well, there's a lot of vitamin A in green grass. The part that makes it rich, vibrant green is a toxin. It's a carotenoid. It's there to protect the plant from ultraviolet lights, and but it doesn't do us any good. It basically is a form of retinol, the same thing that burns wrinkles off of people's skin. So what we're saying here when we say reassessing vitamin A deficiency as a toxicity, I can ring the tuning fork. So I know some people like that. I would like it if I were listening. So we're saying that there's no such thing as a vitamin A deficiency, and that the symptoms they talk about are actually toxicity. Let's see what it says. Overlap of deficiency and toxicity symptoms. Traditional vitamin A deficiency, VAD, symptoms like night blindness, immune dysfunction, and skin issues share striking similarities with hypervitaminosis A symptoms. Hypervitaminosis A, when they say hyper, they mean a lot of vitamin A. And adding osis on it means a condition, like you've got a problem with your health, right? Or a condition. So the symptoms that are the same are vision changes, liver damage, and epithelial fragility. Epithelial tissues, I think, are referring to, let me highlight the word, relating to or denoting the thin tissue forming the outer layer of a body's surface and lining the alimentary canal and other hollow structures. The skin, basically, fragility of the skin. And then they link to these, we could dig into these studies if you want. Here's a, hypervitaminosis A Wikipedia page. It talks about, if you want, I'll put these in the chat, so you've got them. Copy link address. Put it down here. Let's see. What do we got here? The moringa tree. Yeah, I've heard of that. I've tried it. I think I would hold off on on going crazy on moringa. It definitely does something to the brain, and I've used it. I've eaten them a bunch. I was in Mexico, and it wasn't long after that I was on an egg diet, and I was like white as a ghost when I went to the conference. Fortunately, some friends that knew me were like, "Joe, what are you eating? What's wrong with you?" And they took me out for a hamburger and fries, and I was all better. So I think what I'll do is I'll make a bookmark of this. Wait, I have to do it here. And, share it. And anybody with the link can view. Link is copied. So I'll come over here and put it in, let's see, the study. We would call this a study, I guess, right? Of vitamin A. Oh, shoot. Let me say it again. Study there. And put that up on the screen so you can see. That's the link to this show, this thing. I can also do it another way. Right? I can go to a new web page, paste it in like that, and see it just the way you would see it. And then I can put it on the screen as a QR code. Create a QR code. And now let's see if I can actually, oh, it goes away as soon as I do that. How do I share that with you guys? Doggone it. I want to share that so bad. Okay, I can make a screenshot of it and copy that way. I got to figure out how to do this for Dr. Garrett Smith's show. It would be so awesome to not only put the link on the page, because that's one thing. Of course, you've got the link in the chat. That's another thing. But it would be so cool to have the QR code on the screen so people could get to it. And just, I mean, this issue has to be nailed so hard. Who's telling people to take vitamin A? None other than Kennedy, who's now, the head of Health and Human Services, the whole measles outbreak. He's telling people to take vitamin A. That's going to give them measles symptoms. I'm at my wit's end with it all. No, I'm actually pretty harmonic, but here we go. Let's continue on. This overlap raises questions about whether these conditions. So, my friend Zach, if you're still with us, one of the things to really avoid the most is like liver. Don't eat liver. Don't eat organ meats unless they're a muscle, like maybe the heart. Your goal is not in getting high nutrition. Your goal is eating food that has the least amount of toxicity in it as possible. I mean, if you need to get through this OCD thing. Now, I think I'm obsessive compulsive too, and whatever, but I don't have a documented thing for that. But it's something that takes a long time, and there are, of course, behaviors that we have with the way that our brains were toxic when they were formative. So in a sense, we'll never be, fully like someone who was raised without toxicity. But we can be way better than we are. I'm pretty sure of that. What's something like, getting a hold of your digestion is really important. So I'm not really pushing this brand name, but I found this even at Walmart next to things that you're familiar with, like Citrasil or Metamucil. Those are fiber. They're rich in fiber, soluble fiber that helps soak up the bile that your liver and your gallbladder spit out to help you digest fats, but the other reason that they're there is to get toxins out of your body. The problem is, without soluble fiber in your diet, about 95% of those toxins that are running down your intestine get reabsorbed and go back to your liver again. And they harm your body the whole way. So these toxins cause problems to irritate your bowels, maybe burn holes in the bowels. So you get these, people who have just horrible bowel conditions. The other thing you can do is get charcoal powder. This mixes in with water, it becomes kind of gelatinous. You can put as much water or as little as you need to get it to work for you. But I add some charcoal in with it. Another thing I've been working with lately is adding zeolite. It's a nice way to bind to heavy metals. I think a lot of my problems have been heavy metal related. Are you getting some? Am I putting people to sleep, or do we have anybody out there still? Why not eat egg? Because it has the color in it. The strong color is a marker of toxicity, and it's a form of carotenoids. The retinol and carotenoids are words for different forms of vitamin A, and a carotenoid is basically a double molecule of vitamin A with some extra atoms on it that bind it all together. Vitamin A is so hard to get out of the body. When you get a sunburn, the reason your skin is burning is because of vitamin A. And usually you're so toxic with vitamin A that your body's detox. I'm looking at my skin, thinking about a sunburn on the skin, right? And usually the enzymes that break vitamin A down are so overwhelmed by the amount of toxicity throughout the body that they are actually asleep. They just go to sleep when there's so much toxicity around. But when ultraviolet light hits them, it wakes them up. It gives them the energy to start and go again. And then they start breaking down vitamin A. And there's a strange thing about the what we call the detox pathway for vitamin A. It as it oxidizes it, as it detoxes vitamin A, it becomes even more toxic. It turns into like retinoic acid, for example, or it might turn into it's a very small amount of the carotenoids in the body that turn into Accutane or isotretinoin, but they are produced as a byproduct of metabolizing vitamin A in the body. So the stuff I read before about the concerns about Accutane, they apply to everyone. The concept of suicidal ideation is one that I've experienced twice in my life. I think just twice. And it's like out of the blue. You can be not even depressed, not whatever, and then have this compulsion or urge to like just end it. And it's just a bizarre thing. So why not eggs? Because it could drive you to mental problems. It causes problems in your in every aspect of your health. Eggs are bad for you. And you won't notice it in the beginning of your life, probably, until you're a female, I presume, Marcia. And, when children get to that age of about 10, 12, 13, they get this, you know, um, um, mentally, it becomes very challenging for them. And this is because of the vitamin A toxicity, because their livers are so dense with toxins. At that point, they start going through a growth spurt, and the liver grows in size, and therefore the density of the toxicity inside reduces somewhat, so they get a little bit of a break from it. Um, so this is kind of what's going on, and we'd be so much better off without eggs. Just grow another chicken and eat the chicken meat, but don't eat the liver of the chicken. Um, all right, let's get back to our study. And again, all of the notes, what I'm reading here, and all these footnotes are there. Example, let's see, shared striking. This overlap raises the overlap of deficiency and toxicity. Let me see if I can get this working here. This overlap raises questions about whether these conditions represent distinct pathologies, causes of disease, or different manifestations of retinoid imbalance. Oh, God, don't tell me retinoid imbalance. So, example, night blindness is attributed to insufficient retinol for rhodopsin production, but retinol toxicity from 13-cis-retinoic acid, a retinoid metabolite, also impairs photoreceptor function. See, they'll tell you that it's essential for vision, and this is one of the things I'm maybe on the forefront of, is trying to dig in and find out. All right, what is there an alternative theory about how vision works? Because what they're saying about vitamin A being essential for vision is utter bullshit, and they need to be called out on it. And there's a whole field opening up for people who can really figure out and understand how vision really works, because it isn't the way that they put it. Because if anything, vitamin A inhibits vision in some ways. It actually shifts the color of light in some regards. So I think this is really, it's interesting. It actually impairs photoreceptor function. Liver damage, a hallmark of toxicity, is paradoxically linked to vitamin A deficiency in malnutrition cases, suggesting impaired detoxification rather than nutrient scarcity. And I don't know, so oftentimes I want to write these and have a look at them and see whether they're getting it right, and then I kind of show it evidence that they're wrong in the prompt, so that we get a better study. But you kind of wanted me to go into this, Zach, so I'm jumping in there. And so we're just going off the cuff here and talking about the problems with vitamin A, that it is you shouldn't be taking it. You should, if you've got really bad health issues, you should seek to avoid it at all costs. If you've got moderate, health issues, you do really well to avoid, as much of it as is convenient. And, ultimately, at some point, it would be nice to have humans that don't have any vitamin A in them at all. And wouldn't it be interesting to see if we don't turn into some kind of a superhuman or something? Mechanism. RBP, retinol binding proteins, one-to-one binding. There's a word. Does it give us a no, nothing. Stoichiotomy limits free retinol, which can oxidize cells or disrupt mitochondrial function. So this is the thing, that free retinol in the body can disrupt mitochondrial function, can disrupt your ability to create energy in your body. Hey, I need to watch what you guys are saying here. 62, nicotine. Yeah, nicotine as a cure. I would go with nicotinic acid. It's cheaper. You don't have to get the toxic byproducts of everything else they throw in cigarettes or whatever. Charcoal is like a magnet. It doesn't encapsulate the toxin. It can redistribute it even on its way through. Bentonite clay does encapsulate. Oh, Zach says he's hearing me. Thank you, Zach. So let's get back to Earthica says, I hope you get a Pulitzer for exposing vitamin A. Well, I hope Garrett Smith does. That's what I would like. And I'm putting a lot of my work behind his efforts. Let's see. Thanks. We'll try to stop eggs and try to fast. My vision is 8. Fasting isn't as useful as you think. You need to keep, in order to detox, you need to keep your bile flow moving, gently, or moving at a pace that doesn't upset your health. And so, the soluble fiber, there's no calories in this whatsoever. You could drink this all day long, and you wouldn't get any sugar from it at all. It doesn't break down. It's a carbohydrate that doesn't break down to sugar. So what I've been doing is using this and some beef in the morning. Maybe it's just hamburger meat. I buy the really lean hamburger meat and gently fry some up for the week, about 3 pounds. Put it in a container. When I go to the refrigerator in the morning, I'm taking 2 or 3 big spoonfuls in my mouth and chew it, and then I mix some of this up, let it soak, and saturate the water, and and then there's minerals to take as well. Beef gives you a lot. It gives you zinc, and there's some B1 in the beef, so you're getting that. But you might eat chicken in the morning or turkey, But the ones you want to make sure you're not deficient on, because to make retinol binding proteins in your body, you're going to need molybdenum, you're going to need selenium, you're going to need zinc, you're going to need potassium, and you're going to need I might be missing one. Selenium, molybdenum, potassium, magnesium. And the magnesium is best absorbed through the water. So I like to take it in a bath and with magnesium chloride flakes. and nothing with a smell in it or anything like that. The things that are smelly are toxins. They've got aldehydes in them, and those are the the byproducts of breaking down toxins and stuff. So they're not helpful. So like the lavender stuff is like, I know women really like smells, and trying to convince you otherwise, it's like, yeah, I don't know. Let's see. I took eggs from the chicken coop last week. I was craving them. They're super antifungal. Yeah, it's more nicotine in tomato than tobacco. Well, but tomatoes are a nightshade, so Dr. Smith suggests staying away from nightshades. So potatoes, tomatoes, eggplants. There's something else in there. Well, nightshade itself, of course. But if you eat a nightshade plant, you're just going to die. But these other ones related are hi, Polly. Good to see you there. Eat a lot of honey. Well, and the honey's got all these things in it. It's got the color yellow, so it's getting a lot of vitamin A in the pollen of the bees, the pollen of the flowers. So I don't know. It's I mean, I'll take honey, once in a while, but I know that it's something not to overindulge on. But if you overindulge on it, then you know at least now you know. um, and you can save your indulgences for something else that you want to eat. Like pork, for example. There's a lot of vitamin A in pork. Something about the metabolism in the liver. Um, so it makes me wonder if the pig liver is as damaging as eating a beef liver. Because I used to eat, as a child, a lot of Braunschweiger sandwiches. My mom would make them for me. And those had a lot of vitamin A in it, supposedly because they're from the liver. So I think what they're saying here, staccotomy, that's a big fancy word. It's a 1-to-1 ratio. One retinol binding protein encapsulates one retinol molecule. And I don't know about carotenoids with the retinol binding protein, because in that case, it's kind of a 1-to-2 ratio, because a carotenoid is a double retinol molecule assembly. But this aligns with the thesis that the body treats retinol as a toxin requiring containment. Vision, carotenoids versus preformed retinol. And this part might be a little wacky. I'm not sure there's really good science on this yet. Vision, carotenoids versus preformed retinol, endogenous retinol production. While vitamin A is traditionally deemed essential for vision, carotenoids, example, beta carotene, are converted to 13-cis-retinoic acid via enzymes like 13-CIMH. This metabolite shares structural identity with isotretinoin Accutane, a drug linked to severe psychiatric and teratogenic effects. That's your new word for the day, teratogenic, which refers to birth defects. There's a society called the Teratology Society, and they tell people to avoid, if you're pregnant, avoid vitamin A. Really reduce your intake, is what they say. Not, I don't think they're quite to the point of understanding that it's not an essential nutrient, but they have identified that it gives people cleft palate. It can cause fetal demise. It can cause liver damage. I mean, your vitamin A levels as a mother, like birthing or growing a child inside you, you're poisoning that child with the vitamin A you've accumulated, through your life, and some of the vitamin A from your mother is still in you. So this is something that's just toxicity that passes on, and somehow we need to like really get around this. Oh, by the way, Star, your friend from Mexico jumped into our broadcast on Friday with Dr. Smith's show. We had Beth Martins on, and he jumped into the show, and that was pretty cool. Let's see, there's more nicotine. Let's see. Hi, Joe. Eat a lot of honey. This is an extreme lifestyle here. These people grow and kill everything for food, even bears. They eat eggs. They're strongest people I know. A lot of endurance. Yep. I don't eat meat, chicken, pork. Eats lots of beans, lentils, garbanzo beans, and salad vegetables. Well, Marcia, you're gonna do well for a while, and then this kind of stuff catches up on you, and at some point, I'll tell you what is good in there. The garbanzo beans are very good if you can get them organic. That's a very good thing, low in vitamin A, and I think there's some protein in there. Beans, I know black beans are good, and the vegetables are colorful in most cases, so I would avoid them. But the ones you could eat are like cauliflower, turnips. Although I'm not sure about turnips, they some things have a lot of sulfur in them, and we find that we find in the research that sulfur inhibits the detox pathways. So we generally avoid sulfur. So like a radish is white on the inside, but it's got a lot of sulfur, so we avoid it. I don't know what to tell you about the meat. I guess it's just an idea that you've got. But at some point, I hope you keep this in the back of your mind, Marcia, that your health is important, and you're doing your best to avoid, to help the other animals and everything. But at some point, you're going to need a lot of protein. Protein is essential to get the toxins out of your system. Your body creates its own toxins just from living, and you need enough protein to help encapsulate and deliver these toxins out of your body. And so there's that. The other trick is, and Dr. Smith talked about this, you'll like this, Earthika, is that he talked about urine therapy, and that there's a lot of the retinol binding proteins end up in the urine, and that when they are in the urine, he says that they're empty, that in other words, they don't have retinol in them. So, and this works in India where there's a lot of vegetarians. They find that the urine therapy works, really well for them. And, I know this is disgusting and all that to some, but yeah, I've tried it. I know Earthika's tried it. Dr. Smith has tried it. His girlfriend Kelsey has tried it. Beth Martin has tried it. And essentially that the part of it, and maybe you could figure out how to get just the retinol binding proteins to harvest it from the urine, so you don't have to take all the rest of it. But that is that's a way to get a little more protein if you're not eating meat. But the zinc, you could probably need some supplement of zinc. I don't know. My angle on this is as I'm blowing the horn about vitamin A, I'm learning from Dr. Smith. I mean, I've probably watched 120 of his shows, many of them repeatedly, so I can let the information sink in. So, you know, if you want to get this information, it's best to get it from him. But I like talking. I like doing the show. I like doing the tuning forks and all that. And right now, there's going to be a big push for people to take vitamin A. There's going to be a big push for people to take vaccines about the measles and all this stuff. And it's just ridiculous. The best approach to all this stuff is to eat a lot of protein. And I know you're like Marcia. You're like you don't eat meat or whatever. Get enough protein in you. To make sure that, I mean, here's the other thing is that your digestive tracts, can become adverse to eating meat. So, maybe once every week, every 2 weeks or something, you know, eat some small amount of beef or chicken or whatever, so that you're so that when I'm going to tell you, I feel that you're going to come to a point where your health's going to demand that you eat the meat. And you can still thank the animals for their lives. They still led a life, and you can choose the animals that you're going to eat. That maybe, like, I've got this idea of wanting to go spend time with cows, and cuddle with them and stuff, and then eventually eat them. But try to make their life as good as possible while they're alive. Um, but um, these these animals have livers, and these livers are filtering this toxic vitamin A out for you, and it's separating it, and it's giving you some good nutrition, and um, in their meat, and the toxins end up in the liver. So um, it's a natural kind of way that we can benefit from the toxic plants that are around us, get fed to the animals. The animals synthesize that and pull the toxins out through their liver, and we get the benefit of eating the meat. So that's kind of the technical nuts and bolts of it. Let's see if there's anything else in the thing here. Oh, send a link for Dr. Smith so you can watch. Sure. https://youtube.com/at nutrition detective. That's his page, and then I'll put it on the screen for you. All right. And Zach asks, what do you think of keto and carnivore promoting high-fat diets, low moderate carbs, reduce insulin sensitivity, promote high fat for micron? Um, my, yeah, I know what you're saying there. Mitochondria metabolism. High fat is not a good thing. The other place that fat typically has some yellow color to it. That's the vitamin A. Vitamin A is a fat soluble molecule, so it's going to end up in the fat of the animal. That's why we try to avoid the fat. When I buy my hamburger, I go for the the leanest meat I can, like the 93% lean, and then when I cook it, I separate out the fat that from that. It's not a no fat diet. We're not saying not to have any fat, but our long term goal is to use the bile not to break down fat so much, but to transit toxins out of the liver into our soluble fiber and charcoal and maybe zeolite and other kind of binders that we have at our disposal to kind of attract or adhere and get these things so that they don't reabsorb through the intestine wall, so that the bile salts um, and the toxins moving along with them don't reabsorb, and continue to poison the body. Poisons are a poison on the way in, they're a poison on the way out. And we've got to do what we can to kind of, sequester that and get the stuff out, right? So there's his thing there. Let me give you his Twitter. x.com/NutriDetect. He's a lot more coherent about this stuff. um, So I think I talked about the fat. I like the carnivore approach, as long as it's just muscle meat. But then I think, and I get all this from Dr. Smith. I mean, not this product, but the concepts. The problem with carnivore is that there's a kind of bacteria that you will lose in the biome of your gut, and it's called bifidobacteria. Bifido. And bifido is really good at breaking amino acids down into small chain amino acids, something like that. And taking a fiber supplement, like this is psyllium husk fiber. There are others you could try. There's one derived from oatmeal. Its name escapes me, but it's like tablets you can get. And there's one called Sun Fiber that Dr. Smith sells. And that one's probably preferable to what I'm using here. I think I probably wish I could use the Sun Fiber better. Sun Fiber is more of a clear product. This one, sadly has a reputation. Psyllium husk fiber tends to have a reputation for carrying some metals like lead and cadmium, a little higher than you might want to have from some of them. I guess I don't worry about it because I'm dumping some charcoal in there, and I'm thinking, well, I think I'm going to be binding most of that. Maybe it's not a strong bind, but it's doing some adherence. And well, so and the other thing is, if this stuff is carrying the lead and the cadmium, there's a good chance it's going to stay stuck to it, and it's going to just go move right on through, kind of like the way it's going to adhere other things to it as well. Those are some of the thoughts. I might be right or wrong. Along the way we find things that we've done that we thought were good that were ended up being bad for us. Like I was taking ivermectin. I found out that's toxic as all get out, and I'm lucky. I'm lucky to be alive from it. And I was just taking it prophylactically. I didn't have any reason to be taking ibuprofen. Ivermectin. I was just trying to, help people to. There you go, zeolite and colloidal silver. cool. I'm kind of relaxing on some of the colloidal silver, although I do take it every now and then. Let's see. So we got the links. Gracias, obrigado. I like that. Zach says ketones for mitochondria metabolism benefiting mental health. Okay, so you're getting some things there, some benefits, I presume. I just know about ketosis that once you get off of carbohydrates, and then your body starts working on, breaking down like fat for for energy. That in the ketosis state, there's a lot of people say you're a lot clearer thinking and so forth. So, is that something that you're aiming for? I would say that it would be a good experiment. Well, maybe not. I mean, I know that taking carbs when you're in a like a carnivore diet, it really wrecks you for, it may take like a couple days to get back into ketosis again. This was my intellectual path, and I was asking AI about it. It was telling me this isn't going to knock me out of ketosis. I'm not so sure of that. I felt one time I could feel my body switching energy sources, and it was a strain. It was like my body was straining and like, I don't know, I want to say groaning or whatever, like trying to grab energy, and it was a strange thing. And I would think that this stuff would be happening to me all the time, but I only experienced that once. And I've done these things for, probably a week and some days, where I've been on a really pure diet with this, where I've been having, hamburger and this, and my supplements. I like it. I like the idea of the carnivore diet. I really do. But again, you've got to get some fiber in there to keep the bifidobacteria in order. That's Dr. Smith's big concern about the carnivores. Because if you don't have the bifidobacteria, you'll never, you're going to have trouble digesting anything other than the meat that you're digesting. The other interesting thing I found was the saliva helps to digest carbohydrates, but the saliva doesn't have any enzymes to digest the meat. Let's get back and do a little more reading from our document here. All right. This is the first time I think I've seen this. I want to look at this enzyme. So what are we looking at here? I got to come over here. And let's see if I can highlight this the way Dr. Smith does. The name of the study is an enzymatic mechanism for generating the precursor of endogenous 13-cis-retinoic acid in the brain. That's Accutane. 13-cis-retinoic acid is the same as isotretinoin, is the same as Accutane. Oh my God. All right. So it looks like we got some Oriental guys in here. Thanks to them for doing this. Here's the PubMed ID. And maybe I can put this in the chat. And let's get the link to this particular one. And pump it up there. Summary: the 13-cis retinoic acid, 13-CRA, a stereoisometric form of retinoic acid, is naturally generated in the body and is also used clinically to treat acute promyelocytic leukemia, some skin diseases, and cancer. Furthermore, it has been suggested that 13-CRA modulates brain neurochemical systems, as increased 13-CRA levels are correlated with depression and increased suicidal tendencies. However, the mechanisms for the generation of endogenous 13-CRA is not well understood. This study identified and characterized a novel enzyme in zebrafish brain, 13-cis isomerohydrolase, 13-cis isomerohydrolase that exclusively generated 13-cis retinol, which can be oxidized to 13-CRA, 13-cis retinoic acid. Wow. 13-cis IMH shares 74% amino acid sequence identity with human RPE65. I don't know what that is. I could ask if we really want to know. Amino acid sequence identity with human RPE and an 11-cis iso. So when we talk about an isomerohydrolase isomer, this word isomer is another a related chemical of the same atomic makeup. In other words, it has the same electrons or the same atoms, like water, H2O. There might be another one that's OHO, like the molecules. Let's see, the atoms might be in a different order in the way they connect, and we call that an isomer. Is something that has the same components, but they're just arranged a little differently. And something that's an olase, I might be wrong on this, but it's like something that is an enzyme that breaks something apart. So an 11-cis isomer hydrolase in the visual cycle. Here they're talking about the visual cycle. This is the part that I think is probably wrong. I think it's a suspicion. I can't prove it. I want to prove it. I want to go somewhere, and Earthica, maybe your farm would be a great place where you're staying would be great to do this. I need about 8 or 9 months of time. I need to build a containment area for a mass population of rodents like gerbils, and I need to feed them a diet free of vitamin A for about 5 generations, so that when the 5th generations come out and they've not had vitamin A food, and it's reducing from each mother to child, the stores of vitamin A from the mother are waning off, and then so we get to this point where there's hardly any vitamin A in the species at all left. And then if I'm correct, they'll still be able to see. They'll still have an excellent immune systems. They'll still, be happy and playful. They'll probably be as fertile as hell. and then we will have proven um, that a $1 trillion a year cancer industry is benefiting by this um, mishandled science. You know, because this deals with cancer too. It's vitamin A is all over the place, and and copper and. But let's see, and retains key residues essential for RPE65's isomerohydrolase activity. Isomerohydrolase activity. Similar to RPE65, 13 cis isomerase hydrolase is a membrane associated protein requiring all trans-retinol ester as its intrinsic substrate. So an ester is a special form of a molecule. Here it says an organic compound made by replacing the hydrogen of an acid by an alkyl or other organic group. Many natural occurring fats many naturally occurring fats and essential oils are esters of fatty acids. So a lot of the vitamin A that you eat, maybe in liver that you get from liver of an animal, has these retinol esters in it. And let's see, as it is an intrinsic substrate and is enzymatically active, activity is dependent on the iron. The purified 13, it's hard to say, 13-CIMH converted at RE exclusively to 13-cis retinol with Km, I don't understand the mathematics, equals 2.6 micromoles. I think that's what that means there. Maybe if I highlight it, I can get a definition. No. A micrometer, a metric unit of length equal to 1/1,000,000th of a meter. And what's this? No. Okay. Well, Western blot analysis and immunohistochemistry detected 13-CIMH expression in the brain. These results suggest that 13-CIMH may play a key role in the generation of 13-cis retinoic acid and in the modulation of neuronal functions in the brain. If 13-cis retinoic acid is in the brain, it is wreaking havoc, I guarantee you. What? And now we're at the introduction. Retinoic acids are biologically active forms of retinoids. Vitamin A and its derivatives, the spatiotemporal. Geez, I got the tuning fork out. The spatiotemporal gradient of retinoic acid is essential for the regulation of cell proliferation, differentiation, and organ development. When they talk about differentiation, in regards to retinoic acid, they're talking about how it's actually not differentiation. It is the creation of, oh my gosh, I'm trying to get you this thing. my understanding of it is that it's actually a mutation, that the retinoic acid uh, creates mutations in the cells. And so when they say differentiation, it could have a little bit different meaning when they talk about stem cells. Um, whether a stem cell grows to be a kidney cell or a liver cell, or brain cell, there's this idea that differentiation is speaking to at that point where it's like, okay, what's kind of cell are you going to be? Um, but there's also this idea that that retinoic acid provides some sort of differentiation, and I think of it as, like I said, a mutation. But I could be wrong. This isn't my um, this is just a strong hobby interest of mine, and I'd love to hear from other people on it. I mean, other scientists would, probably laugh me out of the room on a lot of this stuff. I mean, seriously, it's touted. Uh, so many of these studies, even the ones that I'll refer to support my claim, will start out and say, that vitamin A is an essential nutrient for the body. But you can read between the lines, and you can see where they've had successes and failures, and where their presuppositions failed to achieve the desired results, so that there was something wrong with the um, design of the experiment. So generally, it's considered that endogenous retinoids are stored as all trans retinol esters in the liver and other tissues as needed at um, AT retinol esters. All trans retinol esters. That's what that stands for. Is hydrolyzed to all trans retinol, ATROL, all trans retinol structure to which is subsequently released into the circulation, bound by retinol binding protein and transported to target cells. Well, we don't think they're really transported to target cells. We just think they perfuse wherever they go, and that thankfully we've got retinol binding proteins to protect us from them as they move around and to try to find their way out of the body. And in doing this sort of approach, Dr. Smith has worked with, I think he's worked with over 10,000 people and helped them achieve success in their health from some really bad situations. He's even had someone who had liver cirrhosis, scarring of the liver, repair, and get back a good healthy liver. So these kinds of results are unheard of. I told the nutritionist this. Her husband has liver cirrhosis, and man, we were lucky we didn't get out of that room without fighting with each other physically. Anyway, so these are some of the, when we talked about isomers, right? There's what do you see in retinol typically? You've got this formation of a carbon ring, and then let's see, there's oxygen and hydrogen things out here. So you got carbon. I've seen this before. It's got like 20. Sorry, I'm doing incomplete thoughts. I'm getting a little tired here. And I would love to, just keep exploring this with you. This is a fantastic paper that we've jumped into. Again, it's located, if I can find my mouse, it's located here. And let me go to the top of the page again. And again, it's an enzymatic mechanism for generating the precursor of endogenous 13-cis-retinoic acid in the brain. So that's Accutane, and that is like, wow. Like I said, we looked at this other document, and we were talking about the side effects of Accutane, and we got all these things here that are common, but then there's a serious things with mental health, intracranial pressure, severe headaches, blurred vision, dizziness, nausea, vomiting, seizures due to increased brain pressure, elevated liver enzymes, let's see, hepatitis, high cholesterol or triglycerides. That's one of the things in the cholesterol. The color yellow is the vitamin A that it's containing. So that's, another problem with it all. Mental health, severe mental health issues can happen. Sun sensitivity, and this can cause problems with your eyes. Yellowing of the skin or eyes, jaundice, persistent nausea or vomiting, severe headaches with blurred vision, unusual bleeding or bruising. Wow. Sudden mood changes or thoughts of self-harm. Accutane, yeah. And then they say it's good for acne or whatever. Yeah. Yeah, but it causes other stuff. Huh. So that's good. And then we found some of this. We found that story in here. Again, this little blurb that I came up with for you is here. I'll find it. Oh, I see. Polly said something here. I didn't see this. They say this in England, therefore no liver, etc. Yeah, in England, they have finally come to their senses and started restricting the amount of vitamin A that people can get in like skin creams. They're realizing that there's a there's a toxic dose, and that when you apply this stuff onto your skin, it's going into your bloodstream, and so it's the wrinkle cream stuff with retinol in it contributes to this problem. So I don't know, ladies, this affects you 10 times more than it affects men, and it affects me. So I'm seriously concerned. I want to see, I want to see 15, 20 years from now, there being, young women who have a really bright future ahead of them, where they're not so loaded with vitamin A toxicity, and that they can have children and grow families where, where the children aren't like totally messed up in the brain, with imbalanced, irrational thinking and stuff. So I think we're a ways from that. Every now and then I'll meet a really high functioning human being who's got great thought process and has a great way of dealing with stress and all this kind of stuff. And there's a big difference, man. There's a big difference. And even they are, probably doing a lot of vitamin A. It's a little more difficult in the United States. We've introduced chemicals that aren't introduced everywhere else in the world. So the vitamin A problem is more predominant, here and in Canada. The North American gene, as Grant Jenner talked about it. Because with the vaccines and the crazy toxins in the vaccines, our livers get injured, so they don't function properly. And so there starts to be, an inhibition of the detox pathways. And then, things start to, the toxins stay in place more, and they damage tissues, and then you start getting into trying to store the toxins inside of fat. You might turn obese. It's a really great thing if you can turn obese, because you can store the fat, the toxins in the fat. If you can't, then your toxic density is higher, being a skinnier person. So in some ways, that's a more difficult condition to work your way out of. Well, all this said, good luck to everybody. I mean, I hope you can enjoy everything else in the world. You don't get too out of sorts with what I'm doing here. Let me do some more of that really cool stuff I was doing with some of these tuning forks. We'll try here another set. Here's 136 and 128. Yeah, we did talk about drinking urine. That's mainly for the people who don't eat meat. To get enough of the retinol binding proteins. Whoa. So can't do that all with just one hand. Sweet potatoes. No. They're colored. They have color to them. And they are different. They're not. A sweet potato is not part of the nightshade family, so it's okay in that regard. But it has in the United States they have the orange sweet potatoes. So they're very high in vitamin A carotenoids. Black beans, okay. The collard greens, I don't know, are those kind of white in places? If you could eat the white parts, it'd be okay. just try to stay away from the dark green. Now, here's the other thing I've been wanting to do. The other thing I would do on a farm, or you could do it anywhere really, I should do it here, is to grow sprouts in the dark so they don't get any light. They won't build any defenses to ultraviolet lights, and they won't build the carotenoids or the polyphenols. So you get away from those toxic effects. And ultimately, I'd like to see the livestock on a farm eating those sprouts. And Earthica Starr mentioned that she knew of a special kind of plant that grew in the dark. That was, and I know that asparagus can be grown underground where it's white, and that would be really good. We actually promote people to eat asparagus anyway. Sulfur needs to get out of the body, and asparagus helps you get it out. That's why your pee smells so weird. Sulfur just kind of smells. There we go. Well, I have some other episodes that I've done. I'll give you the link to that. And of course, all of my work leads to one website, forgivenesscapital.com, and where we assert the infinite worth of each one of us. And Joe Baker's Remedy Report is a show about bringing harmony to the world through economic innovations, health tips, and increased awareness. Maybe this interval isn't so great. Oh, I know it would be great. This one and this one. Yep. I don't know if the mic even picks up this low frequency. But the difference in these two tones give you a binaural experience of the frequency of the Earth's the Schumann resonance. Can you guys hear this thing? It's so, these are such low frequencies. Sorry about the noise in the back room and all that, but what can I do? Let's go to the chat. We're still recording. Guess maybe you can't hear it, huh? All right, I'll put the kyanite, or it's not kyanite. I have black tourmaline and the azurite. All right, I haven't gotten any feedback on that. Let's go back to kicking it with these two. I'll try putting the different gemstones on them. I've not really done two of them at a time very much before. This is the page where I've had other episodes that you can go to, and it lists different body parts where I focus on. Those can be helpful as an index. If you have problems with the links, let me know. Sometimes the links go bad. I am happy. I'm healthy. I'm wealthy. I am wise. I am safe. I am comfortable. I have remedy. Well, thank you very much for joining me today. And I hope that you found this interesting. If you'd like to help with the broadcast, the forgivenesscapital.com page it, has more information if you'd like to get in touch. It'd be great to hear from you and to get you on the mailing list and stuff. Send me an email, and I usually send out my emails from remedycoin.com, but I might have to shift that because my mail server just doesn't get accepted by. It gets a lot of the stuff gets thrown into spam. So, well, this has been very relaxing here in the end, playing the tuning forks. I like that. We covered a lot of strange information today. Again, to kind of summarize and extend a little bit, we've seen that the Accutane isotretinoin molecule is found in blood serum, and it's found in tissues of people in very, very small amounts. But still, this is very concerning because it has such a notorious set of side effects when used commercially as an acne drug. So if you know someone who has had Accutane treatments, they need to start even if they're asymptomatic, they need to start looking at reducing their vitamin A consumption right away. It'll really help them out later. If you're not in the United States or Canada, maybe some of this stuff doesn't seem to affect the elders in your place. I don't know. I think it does. I think people should be living 200-300 years long, and that the aging symptoms that we have are basically toxicity symptoms. Another thing I didn't stress was probably staying away from spices. Salt is important to have a good potassium to salt ratio. If you take a lot of salt, you're going to need to take a lot of potassium with it, but you can get too much potassium too. So always start adding things slow, add them one at a time. See if your body handles these things. If they don't, you go back and you learn what else you can do. And there may be reasons that you can't handle zinc, for example. So back off to really small amounts of zinc, or if you can't do zinc at all, do beef and get your zinc a little bit from that. It can be that your toxicity is so heavy that once you get the missing nutrient mineral, that your body needs to start detoxing it, that the detoxing just starts avalanching, and that's the reason, why you're so sensitive to it. So that's a way to think about these things. I might not be right, I might be wrong. I'm pretty much following somebody that I think is just an incredible genius, Dr. Garrett Smith, and someone who he has gone through a lot of, the alternative remedies that people have, put out on the internet. He's tried a lot of them on himself, made a lot of mistakes, but he really seems to be a forthright guy and has a genuine heart to help people. But yeah. Ooh, it's time for me to go. And for some shut eye. Good night, everybody. Thank you for joining.